I've been to plenty Diddy parties. I left early. I swear to you, I've never seen...
This admission just destroyed Marlon Wayans' career. He thought careful words would protect him. Instead, he confirmed everything Katt Williams had been exposing for years. Now, Eddie Murphy has finally broken his silence about why Marlon should be terrified of Katt Williams.
He said, Marlon Wayans ain't a real comedian.
This is about 10 years ago.
And he was like, I got material, you want me to? I said, no, if I do it, I write my own stuff.
While other comedians sold out to climb the ladder, Katt offered a different path. But Marlon had already picked his side, and it connected him to circles now under federal investigation.
You wearing a dress and
Yes.
the white man got you wearing a dress and no, man, you got it twisted.
The dress controversies now seem like child's play. As scandals explode and federal cases unfold, Katt Williams' warnings sound less like comedy and more like prophecy. This is why Marlon Wayans is terrified of what Katt knows. For a long time, Eddie Murphy stayed quiet. He didn't get involved in comedy drama, didn't throw shade, didn't entertain beefs. But when it came to Marlon Wayans, that silence didn't last. Eddie finally spoke out, and while his tone was light, the message underneath was sharp. To understand why Marlon Wayans is in such hot water, we need to look at his past connections, especially with Diddy. Though known for his comedic charm and successful career, Marlon's name has surfaced in connection to Diddy's freak-offs. While appearing on a recent episode of Shannon Sharpe's popular podcast, Club Shay Shay, the actor and comedian was asked about Hollywood parties, to which he's admitted to attending, but leaving early. I've been to plenty of Diddy parties. I left early, he revealed around the later part of the interview. I swear to you, I've never seen it, he added, apparently referencing Diddy's ongoing allegations about his parties.
I've been to plenty Diddy parties. I left early. I swear to you, I've never seen...
Those aren't the type of parties that I go to. I don't frequent those type of parties, and even if I go, like I said, I've never seen any of this. Doubling down on his stance, he added, when I hear about it, when did that happen? At what time did this go down? 'Cause I was there till 3:30 a.m. You mean at 3:32, they waiting for me to leave like, all right, good, that Wayne's end gone. He talked too much.
I see, you know?
Yeah.
I don't be seeing like...
Well, fans didn't exactly buy Marlon's story. One person wrote, Marlon definitely didn't party with Diddy and them, but he for sure saw and ignored all the BS happening around him because it wasn't his people. The reason so many people seem to be convinced Marlon may not be telling the entire story is because, according to Katt Williams, the actor may not exactly be the straight arrow in the pack. If you know anything about Katt Williams at this point, it's mostly related to two things. First, that he's funny, and second, that he hates men in dresses. The latter happens to be something Marlon Wayans seems to be all too familiar with. Williams has repeatedly spoken against men, particularly black men in Hollywood, being made to wear dresses. According to the comic, it seems to be some type of initiation ritual to feminize those men. And do you know who's also been reported to have a thing for feminizing men? Diddy. Anyway, Katt's comments haven't been taken too well by several people, many of whom have worn dresses too, but only one person took the time out to attack Williams, almost as if he was maybe feeling a little guilty.
Not embrace our different levels of comedy, that we have to be this way.
In an interview that has sparked debates within the entertainment industry, comedian and actor Marlon Wayans weighed in on the discussion about black men in Hollywood donning dresses. His words not only seemed challenged prevailing stereotypes, but also, according to him, highlights the need to embrace artistic expression without succumbing to societal expectations. You talking to a black man that put on a dress, he began. That conversation, to me, it's silly. It's a negative thing that is only in black people. We have for some reason been programmed to look down on the craziest parts about our spirits. We're supposed to embrace our past, our history, our heroes, different levels of comedy.
That conversation to me it's silly. it's a negative thing that is only in black people, that we're supposed to not embrace our past.
Wayans, known for his versatile career in comedy and acting, expressed his views on the topic with a candid and insightful perspective. However, he acknowledged the existence of a prevailing stigma surrounding black men wearing dresses in the entertainment industry, deeming it a conversation that, to him, seems silly. Moreover, according to Wayans, this issue reflects a negative mindset unique to the black community, one that has been ingrained over time. The comedian, who himself has donned dresses in various comedic roles, pointed out the discrepancy in how the entertainment industry perceives such acts. Drawing a parallel with renowned actor Robin Williams, Wayans emphasized that when artists like Williams put on a dress, they are often celebrated and even awarded by their communities.
When Dustin Hoffman puts on a dress in Tootsie and he wins an Oscar, he's labeled brilliant. When black people put on dresses, all of a sudden we're labeled something negative.
However, within the black community, according to Marlon, there seems to be a tendency to label and judge individuals for similar acts. This creates a double standard according to him. Robin Williams puts on a dress and wins an award. His community embraces him, he says. We're labeled by our own people. That is not an artist's mindset. When you're an artist, you go out and create art.
That whole thing about, you put on a dress and you selling out, that is not an artist's mindset. When you're an artist, you go out and you create art.
Wayans argued that this mindset goes against the true essence of being an artist. According to him, artists should be free to explore different facets of their craft, whether it involves embracing the past, challenging stereotypes, or incorporating various forms of comedy. However, these new details that seemingly tie him to Diddy make things slightly more complicated for the actor, as fans seem to think he may not only have been protecting Diddy all this time, but he may have partaken in the degeneracy, the very thing that just got Diddy arrested and denied bail. Could Marlon really have been on Diddy's side all along? If that's the case, the actor might be in hot water because things are definitely not looking good for anyone who used to hang around the disgraced mogul.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already.
In any case, Marlon also addressed the act of male actors wearing dresses, something that Katt Williams is completely against. Marlon didn't hold back.
To this day, people like the stigma of you wearing a dress. And
Marlon's point is, why do black folks get all worked up when one of their own throws on a dress? But when white actors like Robin Williams, Tom Hanks, or Dustin Hoffman do it, they're hailed as brilliant? He straight up called out the double standards and said, black people need to stop tearing each other down over this dress thing. Marlon's throwing shade at the idea that wearing a dress somehow diminishes a black actor's talent. He's got a point. Why tear down legends like Flip Wilson or Tyler Perry just because they rocked a dress for a role? Marlon's on a mission to break free from the toxicity, urging minorities to unite and celebrate the richness of our humor. Marlon continued spilling the beans about his own experience when Katt Williams threw shade at him for not being a full-time stand-up comedian. Back in the day, they were working on Behind the Smile, and Marlon wasn't hitting the stand-up scene hard at that time. Katt was like, man, you should try it, you're funny, offering up his own material like he's got hours of it in the vault. Marlon was having none of it, though.
One time he said, Marlon Wayans ain't a real comedian.
This is about 10 years ago.
And he was like, I got material, you want me to? I said, no, if I do it, I write my own stuff.
That's where things got a bit spicy because Katt went on about Marlon not doing stand-up, calling him a comedic actor, not a comedian. Here's the kicker. Marlon took that as a challenge, not a diss. He embraced it as an opportunity to step up his comedy game. Instead of getting all defensive, he was like, okay, you're right, got work to do. Fast forward and Marlon's been hustling, doing specials, hitting the road, basically on the grind to become a legit comedian. He admitted he's way better now than when Katt dropped that comment, but he didn't let it get him down. He flipped it into something positive, using it as fuel to become his greatest self in the comedy game. Then, there is Kevin Hart. Before he skyrocketed to the Kevin Hart we all know and love, he was dropping some wisdom in an interview. Kevin was all about artists protecting their brand, setting boundaries, and not crossing certain lines. At that point, he was vibing with his personal beliefs. No dress drama in sight.
Definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries.
When the topic of wearing a dress for a role came up, Kevin was straight up like, nah, haven't faced that dress dilemma. Gotta know your boundaries and protect your brand. He was all about steering clear of anything that could compromise his image. Kevin even mentioned turning down a request to dribble a basketball on a talk show because it would make him look foolish. It's all about protecting the brand. But here's where it gets interesting. Just a year later, boom, Kevin's on an SNL skit rocking a dress as a 9-year-old Oscar nominee. Fans were not having it. Accusations of selling out and being fake started flying around. It was like, hold up, weren't you just preaching about boundaries and protecting your brand, Kev?
It's actually one of those comedians that said, no, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way I would wear a dress. And then when proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, I thought, oh, that's funny, I'm gonna do it.
Then Kevin Hart pulled a complete 180 on us, flipping the script from his earlier stance on wearing dresses. He initially said, no way, I'm not putting on a dress. Fast forward to when the opportunity knocked and he found the whole idea funny. Suddenly he was like, why not? I'm doing it. Here's where it gets tricky. Kevin, in defense mode, starts saying nobody forced Martin Lawrence into Big Mama's house, or Tyler Perry into Medea, or Jamie Foxx into Wanda's dress. It was a choice, according to Kevin.
It's all about choice. You know, nobody makes you do anything.
Right.
Nobody says this is what you got to do. It's the only way that you're going to do it.
But then there's this counter-argument floating around. People are saying it's not just a matter of choice. Kevin himself wasn't okay with the idea before the money talks began. When the cash starts rolling in, suddenly integrity takes a back seat. It's like money becomes this magical thing that makes people do stuff they swore they'd never do. Remember when Steve Harvey dropped that bomb about integrity?
10 million. For 4 million, I'll be all them can stand. Black people will be so embarrassed by my performance, you'll be sitting there.
He straight up said he was willing to throw his integrity out the window for a hefty paycheck. It's a harsh reality, but hey, he put it out there. Now, back to Kevin Hart. After he did the dress thing, his career went through the roof. He became the highest paid comedian ever, raking in cash like no one else. It's like the dress move was the golden ticket to success in the comedy game. Some folks used to give Katt Williams a hard time for what he said, but here's the scoop. Even his buddies like Brandon T. Jackson didn't see eye to eye with him initially, but now they've caught on to what Katt was talking about. In a candid interview with Comedy Hype, Brandon T. Jackson openly shared his regret about wearing a dress alongside Martin Lawrence in Big Mama's house. Reflecting on that time, he admitted,
everything went wrong when I put on that dress. I'm telling you, I lived it.
Yeah. Is there any
Even with Martin, things went wrong when he did it too, because Martin is very anointed.
According to Jackson, the pre-Big Mama's era marked a turning point in his career. While it brought positive aspects like increased visibility, it also had negative consequences for his personal life. When asked about the changing point, Jackson clarified that it was a negative shift. Sure, his face was plastered on buses, but behind the scenes, his personal life was a mess. According to him, it was a pretty horrible time. Brandon clarified that he didn't receive backlash from people except for Katt Williams, who consistently advised him against wearing a dress. Initially, Brandon thought Williams was just heckling him, but later realized that Williams was genuinely trying to help him. Brandon admitted his own immaturity at the time, feeling defensive about pursuing his career while facing criticism. Williams, it turned out, was attempting to warn him about the potential pitfalls of getting into a dress. The interviewer then asked if, given his current awakened mindset, there's any amount of money that could convince him to wear a dress. Brandon firmly stated that no amount of money could sway him. Brandon explained that after a scene in Lottery Ticket where he didn't wear a dress, the industry started pushing the idea onto him. He drew parallels to Tupac's experience, suggesting that when someone is perceived as too real, the industry attempts to control that authenticity by putting them in a dress. When asked about the purpose of putting actors in dresses, whether it's to tone down their realness, Brandon expressed a personal perspective. He believed that wearing a dress is not part of his cultural background, and people from different cultures may impose their norms. He considered it a curse for him personally, as things went downhill in his life and career since then. Brandon candidly explained that, for him, putting on the dress seemed to extinguish the fire he once had. He reflected on doing it only once, while others like Martin wore dresses multiple times, and Tyler Perry, in particular, seemed to grow stronger from it. Brandon humorously admitted he doesn't know the rules governing these experiences. Here's where Katt's got that spiritual vibe, which is why he wasn't up for rocking a dress when Martin Lawrence suggested it. It's not that Martin's a bad dude, he just wasn't clued in like Katt. According to Katt, Martin hit him up during a hiatus saying, "Katt, when I'm back I need you in my next movie. We're doing some buddy cop stuff." Katt, being the loyal homie, was like, Sure, Martin, I got your back." But then reality hit when they got in the office and Martin pulled out the script for Big Mama's House 2. Katt almost keeled over when he saw that dress again.
You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House 2.
Katt got so heated that he straight up told Martin, "You don't want me, you want Brandon T. Jackson." And guess who they ended up getting? Yep, you guessed it, Brandon T. Jackson. Not once, but twice. Katt claims he had all the material, but he just wanted to punch it up to keep it real. He didn't want it to be offensive to the real ones out there. That's how he landed in this whole predicament. So it's not just about the dress. It's about Katt wanting to keep it authentic and not compromise his principles. Now, interestingly enough, this story reminds us of the time Dave Chappelle shared that he too was approached to wear a dress. And guess what? It's got a Martin Lawrence connection. Chappelle broke his silence back in 2006 while speaking with Oprah.
So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as the
Chappelle's like, no, I'm not doing that. It wasn't in the discussion. They try to pressure him, saying it's a hilarious bit, but he stands his ground, saying he doesn't need a dress to be funny. The whole thing gets intense with writers, directors, and producers pushing, but Chappelle sticks to his guns. In the end, they come up with a new scene without the dress, and he's left wondering, how did you write that so fast? Dave just didn't vibe with it, not because wearing a dress is an issue on its own, but because he felt the industry was trying to corner black artists into doing whatever it took for success. Dave revealed this whole experience was an eye-opener. It took being told to wear a dress for him to connect the dots and realize this wasn't just his struggle. Lots of other black men had been asked to do the same. Martin Lawrence rocked it in Big Mama's House. Eddie Murphy pulled it off in the Nutty Professor series. And Jamie Foxx left a mark with his unforgettable Ugly Wanda on In Living Color. Tyler Perry fired back at Dave Chappelle in an interview saying, "Look, Chappelle is one of the smartest guys I've ever seen, not just in comedy, but in deep thinking. If that's how it rolls in Hollywood, cool, but that ain't my story. Nobody told me to wear that dress but me. It's my $2 billion franchise, and it's always been my choice." Tyler Perry continued, "I've done 19 movies since then, all by my own call. Maybe it's different for others, but for me, it's like putting on a work uniform. I'm not a guy who enjoys wearing a dress, but as an actor, it's a costume. 19 movies since then has been my choice. Maybe that's the way it's been for some other men who have done that, but for me, let me tell you how I look at this, man." In any case, despite everything, it looks like Marlon Wayans is taking the high road when it comes to Katt Williams. In the interview, Marlon laid it out. Look, in the stand-up world, we're all in this together. It's like a fraternity, a brotherhood. I don't care about other people's opinions on this. Art is art. We're a family, and I'm not about fostering or promoting negativity. Marlon's got this whole brotherhood vibe going on, emphasizing that he won't dictate how his fellow comedians conduct themselves. Despite any grievances, he's still showing love for Katt Williams. It's like Marlon saying, "Hey, Katt's going to be Katt. You know him, that crazy cousin at the barbecue. That's just Willie being Willie." Marlon seems to acknowledge Katt's brilliance, giving props for the specials and the business moves. It's all about recognizing the talent and respecting the game. But here's the twist. It doesn't seem like Katt reciprocates the same warmth. While Marlon is keeping it cool and diplomatic, the feud continues to simmer. The comedy world watches as this plays out, with both sides holding their ground on what they believe is right for the industry and for black comedians specifically. Anyway, now we understand why Eddie Murphy finally spoke up. He's seen this pattern before: the industry pressure, the compromises, the secrets that get buried until someone brave enough decides to expose them. Katt Williams isn't just a comedian with opinions about dresses. He's someone who's been consistently right about industry corruption, someone who walked away from opportunities rather than compromise his principles. And now, with the Diddy scandal unfolding, his warnings are looking less like conspiracy theories and more like prophecy. Marlon Wayans can take the high road all he wants, talking about brotherhood and artistic freedom. But his admissions about attending Diddy parties that are now evidence in federal court, have put him in an impossible position. Eddie Murphy knows what happens when the truth comes out in Hollywood. He survived long enough to see careers destroyed overnight when secrets surface, and he can see that Katt Williams holds cards that Marlon doesn't even know are still in play. The dress controversy was never really about dresses. It was about control, compromise, and what people are willing to do for success. Now, as federal investigators dig deeper into Diddy's world, those compromises are becoming liabilities. Brandon T. Jackson found his courage to speak the truth. Kevin Hart's contradictions are on the record. Dave Chappelle walked away rather than play the game. Tyler Perry claims it was always his choice. But Marlon Wayans, he's trapped between defending his choices and protecting secrets that might not stay secret much longer. Eddie Murphy's warning is clear. When Katt Williams decides to tell everything he knows, some people aren't going to survive the fallout. And based on recent events, Marlon Wayans has every reason to be terrified of what comes next. In Hollywood, the truth always finds a way to surface. And sometimes, it takes someone like Katt Williams, fearless, uncompromising, and with nothing left to lose, to make sure it does. The question isn't whether more revelations are coming. The question is whether Marlon Wayans will still be standing when the dust settles.